Hello!
Hello!
I'm Cathy.
I'm Rachel.
Welcome to Lunar Bird Book Club.
Cheers! Cheers! Now that we've got our hot drinks, in today's video we're going to be talking you through some of the books that we have read this year so far in 2023. Now it is, on the day of filming, it is July, so we're about halfway through the year. Cathy has read 41 books, I have read 11, so our pools are slightly different sizes, but it's fine. We both enjoy reading and that's what matters.
Yes.
We have both picked 3 of our favourite books that we've read this year, and we're going to talk a little bit why they're our favourites, what we enjoyed about them, and why we think you should read them.
I'm going to start us off by saying my third favourite book of this year, and that is The Gathering Storm by Brandon Sanderson and Robert Jordan. Now, there's not an awful lot I can say about this book because it's part of the Wheel of Time. Rachel did just tell me what book it was in the series.
Book 12.
Book 12! I can't remember the orders. So we're midway through, so I can't tell you a lot about the plot without giving stuff away, but I can say that 2 main characters have amazing arcs that at the end of the book are so satisfying and wonderful to see, and it moved me to tears to the end.
Aww.
Yeah. So like a lot of the Wheel of Time books are brilliant, but my favourite one that I've read this year is The Gathering Storm.
That's so cute.
I know. So if you're reading The Wheel of Time already, just wait for The Gathering Storm because it's so good.
You will cry.
You'll cry. You'll cry, but you'll also be like, just hopeful for the world and yeah. I finished that book feeling very strong and happy and ready to take stuff on. It left me feeling really energised. So I really, really loved it as a book.
My turn now, and my third favourite, which I've just decided when Cathy said she'd put them in an order, is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This is a sci-fi mystery type book, and as I was reading it, I was having a lot of fun. I have owned this book for quite a long time. Well, not a long time because it's fairly new, but I bought it at the recommendation of a friend and I kept it on my bookshelf for several years, and then I finally got around to reading it and spoke to my friend about it. I really enjoyed it. There is a whole cast of characters to enjoy is maybe the wrong word, but I was invested. I was really interested in what was going to happen. It's kind of got a mystery element to it, so I was constantly thinking, what's caused this? What's going to happen next? Who to trust? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was just a really enjoyable read. And the tagline on the front, review, I don't know what you call these things. You're a book person.
It's not a blurb. It's too short for a blurb. Tagline?
Okay, sure. Charles Stross says, lesbian necromancers explore a haunted gothic palace in space. And to that I say, what's not to love?
That's brilliant.
That's brilliant. If you are a fan of sci-fi, I don't read a lot of sci-fi, but I think this class is a sci-fi.
If it's in space, it's sci-fi.
Yeah, it's in space, it's sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's gothic sci-fi. If you're a fan of sci-fi, look at this beautiful cover. It's got a skull face paint on it. Just read it. I read it. I immediately bought the second one. I haven't read the second one yet, but
you bought it.
I bought it and it's on my really long TBR. So yeah, this is my number 3. Back to you.
I should say I don't have physical copies of the books with me today because 2 of them have been audiobooks, and then the one that I just talked about was Rachel's book. And I just forgot to ask you to bring it with you. So that's on me. But anyway, my second favourite book that I've read so far this year has been The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Armin. It was written in 1922. It's about 4 women who have very different lives from one another, and they each respond to an advert in a newspaper for a special holiday to spend the month of April in an Italian castle by the sea. It's a great escapist read. When each of these women gets to the castle, the beauty of the place, the flowers, the gardens, the seaside, the food, all starts to work a special magic, and romances bloom, friendships are formed, lives are changed, and it's a real strong, uplifting read. Definitely one to go for if you need to be cheered up, or you want something that's going to be sweet and hopeful and joyful. And the book's really about, as cheesy as this sounds, it's about love, and about how loving yourself and loving friends and loving others can change situations, and it's a real good soul food book, and I really enjoyed reading it.
My second favourite book of the year so far is actually the first book I read. This is called The Ice Palace, and I thought that sounded very wintry, so I decided to read it in January when it's quite wintry in the UK. Now this is by Torje Vesas, hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a Norwegian novel translated into English, and I found this story incredibly moving. A new girl moves to the main character's school. I think they're about 11, 12, something like that. And in the rural part of Norway that they live, there's a waterfall that freezes every year. And the children, they call it the Ice Palace, and the children go and play by it. And one day, this new girl goes there alone and doesn't come back. And the novel is about how Sis, the main character, deals with that grief. I really like Sis's character in this novel. I think she grows through the novel. She definitely grows, and you see that growth. And I just think it's really simple. It's, 130 pages? If you have the inclination this winter for something snowy, something icy, that is also very tragic. This is just a really beautiful piece of fiction, I think, and I'm actually going to leave it with you because, you quite like folky type tales. It's not a folk tale, but I think it is definitely that
small
kind of
town community, traditions.
Yeah,
I want to read that. Thank you.
And can I just say, look at this gorgeous cover.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Beautiful.
My favourite book that I've read so far this year is Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. So a proper old school classic, but I can see why it's a classic. So if you haven't come across it before, the storyline of this book is that a number of people are invited to spend a week on a little island in a very rich house that's beautifully done up with a bunch of strangers. So none of these guests know one another, and then when they get to this island that's completely cut off from the rest of the world, the guests start dying off one by one. And it transpires very early on in the opening pages that not only do the guests not know each other, actually nobody knows the hosts. Nobody knows who's invited them or why they're there. So they have to figure out who the murderer is, what connects all these people, and in doing so they uncover lots of other secrets. And it's just such a satisfying whodunit. The island is so creepy, each character is mysterious and gripping, and the plot moves so quickly. And I loved it from beginning to end. I didn't see the ending coming, but once it was all explained, it all still made sense, which is so important for me in a novel with a twist or a mystery. And I really feel like if I were to go back and read it again, I'm sure that I missed clues and details about the characters. So it's one that I'm looking forward to revisiting. And yeah, I think it's my favourite Agatha Christie novel I've ever read. And it's going to be one that I return to again and again, I think. Just had everything for me.
Do you know what I think is really interesting? The fact that your number 2 and number 1 are both books about a group of people who don't know each other going to a place.
I really like the idea of going on holidays with strangers.
Hey.
It might end in murder, it might end in true love.
Who knows? Who knows? My favourite book of the year so far is Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I don't have a physical copy of this because I backed the Kickstarter for digital copies. So here's the evidence that I own this book. Now, this book, I think, is one of Brandon's strongest books. At the time of reading all the way through it, I was very present in my mind that I was enjoying this. And what this story is about is it's a girl, Tress, she's just great. I loved her immediately. As soon as I started reading, I loved her. And I think Brandon is so good at characters, but Tress in particular is 10 out of 10. Tress is going on a journey to save her friend. But on that journey, she discovers more about herself, more about her strengths and her abilities, and who knows if she finds a friend or not. I'm not going to tell you, you'll have to read it. But I think, yeah, it's a book about self-discovery, but also discovering how you interact with those around you and what you can offer to people and the world. Something about it was just, it was so beautiful. I sent some messages to my friend that I'm going to read on camera to you. Where have they gone? I found them. No context, but Brandon once again has me crying about the power of friendship.
Oh,
You cried in Gathering Storm.
I did, yeah.
You know?
He's good at doing good characters.
I think that's one of his strengths, really. But yeah, the characters in this novel care about each other deeply, and it's what the novel's about, really. It's very sweet and beautiful, and I think you would enjoy it as well because, without giving too much away, it's a story being told by a storyteller.
Yeah.
So I think you would enjoy that from the storytelling aspect of it.
I do really like that.
And the narrative voice is really, really good. There are some references to the wider Cosmere in the novel, but you do not have to have read all of Brandon's Cosmere novels to understand what's going on. I haven't read Elantris, and I believe there are Elantris references in it, but it doesn't detract from the story that you don't already know them. Another thing about this novel, so I think I already said it's one of Brandon's super secret projects, and they all, I haven't actually read the third one yet, but they've all had different pieces of artwork in them, and the art in this book is phenomenal. It's gorgeous. I just showed Cathy some.
It was really pretty.
It was really pretty.
More books should come with illustrations from
more books
like,
should
adult
come.
books.
Yeah, 100%. I think it. Obviously, when you're reading, you're using your imagination, but it helps to have something to jump off of, and it's a way of celebrating other artists.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I don't know who we write to, but yes, we want more illustrations.
More illustrations, please. It's interesting that Cathy said, and then there were none is her favourite Agatha Christie novel, because I think Tress is my favourite Brandon Sanderson novel.
That's saying something.
It is, isn't it? I haven't read all of Brandon's works. I have read a fair few, but I just think there's something so beautiful about this one.
Okay, so that's our top. Well, I guess it's 6 top books that we've recommended there. 3 each. Hope you found something that you might like there. Let us know in the comments what your favourite book is that you've read so far this year. And like and subscribe to keep updated on our videos. Thank you so much for watching.
See you later.
Bye. I'm gonna do that again.
There's a widening of my eyes when you say my third favourite, and I'm like, we were supposed to put them in order.
Okay, I'm going to start us off with my 3rd favourite book that I've read so far this year. So I'm going to start us off with my 3rd